my friends, again, let me say welcome to all our viewers and our subscribers. I have to thank you so much for the extraordinary response we are getting because, again, I'm going to say that we are having in excess of 1,000 subscribers per week. And for some people, that seems just crazy. And for us to have over 33 million views in 12 months, again, they think that's crazy, but that's crazy good. So this afternoon, as we normally do, we come to you at the sports platform by co-host John Melbourne, and I should say Cricket Hall of Famer John Melbourne. So let me turn you over to John at this moment. Welcome to John Sports Corner and our special guest.
Thank you so much, Trevor, and a very good afternoon to our friends and family. Thank you for visiting and staying with John Sports Corner on the SosoBone Media Network, the global Caribbean media capital. Now, before my special guest, Mishka-Mae Hyde, joins us, let me remind you to go to the Winner Circle radio store in the SosoBone shop and get a gift from the shop. Of course, we have mugs, we have t-shirts, we have backpacks, we have tote bags. Of course, Christmas is coming, so sorrel is available. And certainly, you can also pick up a packet of the great Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee, which will go over so well on Christmas morning. So get a couple packets. Again, my special guest is Mishka-Mae Hyde. And Mishka, welcome to John's Sports Corner.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, do you have family in Jamaica who were affected by Hurricane Melissa?
Well, basically, majority of my family lives in Kingston, so they were not significantly affected, but of course, everyone is affected by the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa.
Hmm. Okay, that's good. And yes, I was speaking to my brother-in-law who lives still in Jamaica, and he lives in Kingston too. But he told me he traveled out into the country with care packages and stuff, and it would, what we see on video is nothing to what they are looking at live. And he says even rocks and boulders from the sea were thrown up on the land, you know, and it was just amazing to see what has happened there after Hurricane Melissa. Anyway, let us go back to your athletic career in high school. Let's start in high school. At St. Andrew,
Yes, St. Andrew High School for girls.
I had two sisters who went to St. Andrew.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah. How did you fall into 400 meters and 400 hurdles?
Okay, so I started doing seventh and eighth grade. Of course, at that level in class four, there was only the 100 and 200. So I started as a short sprinter doing 100 and 200. Also did 70-meter hurdles. So that's kind of where I got my introduction to hurdles. And then starting in class three, I moved over to the 400 group. So at first, that transition was really difficult for me. I had trouble breathing, had trouble keeping up with the workouts. And but it was a really tough transition. I didn't start 400 hurdles that year. I actually did it one time during my 10th year. However, I didn't continue with it that season. I only did it one time at Carifta Trials just to get an experience because the coach wanted me to. And then starting in 11th grade when I moved to class two, that's when I really started doing the 400 hurdles, and that was my first year doing it. And I think I had a very good first year. I would say in my head, that was my best year of the 400 hurdles. I actually won the corporate area championships, which is for Kingston and St. Andrew. So that was a really good year for me, and that's when I really started getting into the 400 hurdles.
Mishka, I don't want to be too interruptive at this stage, but how tall are you?
I am 5'7".
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, and you did hurdles.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I
Um,
ask. That's why I ask, because yes, quite good. Quite good.
talk a little bit now, Mishka, about your champs career.
Okay, so champs, of course, I wasn't really a star. Um, the furthest I've made it,
Neither was Asafa Powell.
the furthest I made it to an individual event was the semifinals for the 400 and 400 hurdles a couple times. Then for the 4x4 and 4x4, we made it to finals at least one time that I remember. And then for 4x1, I think I made it to finals one time as well. Yeah.
Well, I have
So
to
of
say
course I
this.
wasn't a star, but I tried. I did my best.
Well, I have to tell you this, 19, what was it, 59, I went to champs too, but it was as a reserve for at
Oh,
that
yeah.
time, it was class 3, and they only had 4x4 and 6x100.
Mm.
And I went as a reserve. So you have done a lot better than I did.
Mm.
But champs today is a lot different, as I said, to when going back to Sabina Park back in the 50s and early 60s. Um, Back then we ran on grass. You probably also trained on grass before
Yeah.
you got to the stadium or to GC Foster College for that matter. What's the difference you found running on grass and running on the track at stadium?
Well, for one, at my high school is a 200-meter track. So just the difference between the 200 and the 400 is a big difference in terms of planning your race and all of that because
Mhm.
it's really hard to mimic the race strategy on a 200-meter track, especially for 400 hurdles, where I would have to go around the 200 track twice just to mimic the race. So it was really difficult. And also the terrain being difficult, I think it also works different muscles. So that might have affected us even though we didn't even think about it at the time.
Uh, uh,
And you mentioned something that's very important, a 200 track as opposed to a 400 track. It is a complete different race strategy.
Yes, because the 200 track is a lot of corners, especially how our track was shaped. It was a lot of corners. So going around the hurdles on the corners is different than on the straight. So it's really different.
yes, yes, yes.
And I mentioned the 50s and 60s champs before. What was the year? I think it was 62 when they moved to National Stadium. But in those early years at Sabina Park, there used to be an exhibition race with seniors. That doesn't happen anymore at champs.
Oh,
So I
oh.
mean, so you would see like a Dennis Johnson or some of those guys who used to run for Jamaica back then, making an appearance. And I suppose it kind of encouraged our youngsters then. Oh, I'd like to be like Dennis. Did you run at Carifta?
No, I didn't run at Carifta. I only ran at Carifta trials a few times, but I never made it to Carifta.
What about pen relays?
Yes, I ran at Penn Relays 3 times. I did 4x4 and 4x1.
Mm.
Okay, and
Yes.
4x1, huh?
Yes, 4x1. In high school we have limited people, so yeah.
Okay.
I know your first experience running in the pen relays. W- w- what kind of adjustment did you have to make in terms of the weather?
Well, I actually hate the
Were you
cold.
shocked?
So, yes, I was very shocked because the first day we got there was actually kind of warm, and then on race day it was extremely cold. So, it was like hard to navigate, especially at Penrith you have to wait for a long period of time in the cold.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
it was really like a mental battle the entire time dealing with the cold.
Hmm.
I can imagine because Trevor, I
Hmm.
remember when I came back here. and I was playing football with a team in Brooklyn in this competition, and we got to the playoffs. And this was like in September, going into October. And this was the first time, I mean, the first playoff game,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to take off clothes and go there in shorts.
Oh boy.
I couldn't deal with the temperature at the time.
Well, I know about the cold because for years our company used to provide those yellow jackets that the athletes got when they came to Penn Relays, as well as the
Mm,
long sleeve Team Jamaica Battle shirts. The company,
mm,
that was a part of my marketing budget
yeah.
at that time that we provided all those yellow jackets. I mean, I remember Erwin Clear telling me the story that he was driving in Jamaica a couple of years afterwards, and he saw a man coming to him driving a donkey, and the man had on a yellow jacket. And he said,
Uh,
like, hold on, am I seeing right? And yes, the man and the donkey said, yeah, my daughter went to Penn Relays and she bought me back a jacket.
yeah.
So
But as
yeah,
a high schooler, Mishka, did you have a favorite athlete?
Well, my favorite athlete has always been Shelly Ann Fraser
okay.
Price.
Okay,
Yes.
I guess there's no better favorite.
Yes.
Good model, good model.
Now, from how did you get to George Mason University?
Okay, so I got recruited from George Mason during my last year of high school. Someone from my high school actually already went there, so that's how I got the connection. And I had a Zoom call with the coach, and then I signed. I forgot what the name of the contract is, but I signed to George Mason.
Mhm. And what was did the experience in high school, in track and field in high school, prepare you for the college experience?
I say yes and no because a part of the college experience is the fact that you have to live on your own in a totally different place. So that's kind of made it more difficult for me. But in terms of the track work and balancing track and school, the high school experience did help me a lot. And in
Mm.
terms of managing the competitions as well.
There's a belief that U.S. universities burn out our athletes. Talk about that experience managing track and field and academics.
So I went to a smaller Division 1 school. So in terms of that, they wouldn't have worked us as hard as the bigger schools would have. But I say in terms of academics, it was still very difficult to navigate, especially because I was an engineering major. So I had a lot of exams, a lot of classes, and a lot of coursework. So handling coming back from a meet and then having to take an exam the next day was extremely difficult. And I'd say I would not want to go through it again, but it definitely made me into a stronger person.
Okay, good, 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 good.
And you say you did, was it a particular field in engineering that you pursued at George Mason?
So at George Mason, I did bioengineering with a concentration in biomaterials and nanomedicine.
Mm. How many of your country men or women were at that school with you?
Okay, so when I just got there, there was one athlete there. She was 2 years ahead of me, so she left. And then after she left, another athlete came in
Oh,
from St. Andrew High School for girls as well.
okay, good, good, good.
Yes. So I always had somebody
Yes,
there. Yeah.
that's what I'm checking on. Okay.
Yes.
And I think our former Consul General, oh boy, I forget his name now. He was at George Mason before he became Consul General years ago, Trevor.
Basil,
Uh, eh?
Basil Bryant.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I think he was at George Mason, before he became Consul General.
Mm,
Yes, there was actually a Jamaican coach there at one point. So there were like a lot of Jamaican athletes at
oh,
one point. I'm not sure what years, but there's a history of Jamaican athletes there.
good, 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 good.
No, you graduate from George Mason. What made you gravitate to long distance running?
Okay, so I say there's like an uptick in distance running right now. So as a hobby, as just something you do. Even in Jamaica, you see lots of 5Ks happening. So it was just something that I saw that I could use as an outlet for me after track, because life after a sport can be difficult for a person to navigate, because you're used to always having something to do,
Mhm.
always having that other activity, and then also the health aspect as well. I wanted to stay healthy, so I decided that after I graduated, I was just going to continue jogging, go on runs. I joined a run club called Paces in Jamaica, so that's where I kind of started doing longer runs, and then I joined Alan Beckford's group at the track, so I started doing some track workouts, and I entered a race there called the Best Just Chicken 5K, and I
Mm.
actually won the women's section. And I wasn't expecting like any great time or anything. I won it and I ran 18:15. So I was like, oh, I have some potential. Everyone's telling me, oh, this girl is so good. They haven't seen a girl run this time in so long. So I was like, yes, let me try this.
You mentioned, said something, and I want to back up a little here. You talked about the uptick in long distance running in Jamaica. And yes, there are a lot of 5Ks and 10Ks and half marathons and marathons being run now. Um, I remember a few years ago when high schools started bringing in the African athletes. I personally thought it was a good thing because it might inspire long distance running in Jamaica. So I find it interesting that you say now that there's an uptick in long distance running. Do you feel you haven't maxed on your potential yet?
I definitely don't think I'm maxed on my potential yet, because it hasn't even been 2 years. And even in like training, I notice I struggle with a lot of some of the details, like jogging faster in between the reps and some other stuff that some of the people I run with are stronger at. So I do believe that I have a lot more potential. And also in terms of like nutrition and recovery, I have some ways to go with that as well. So I do think I have a lot more potential in the area.
And you mentioned the race you that 5K were the best dressed chicken. But
Yes.
but how did you prepare for that?
So after my track season ended in May, I just jogged every day. Just went on
Mm.
runs every day. And it was on the hill. So I feel like that was helping me as well. So I just went on runs every day, and the race was sometime in June, and I ran the race. That's,
Okay.
yes.
And that was really your first competitive race beyond 400 meters?
Yes, I'd say yes. Like I had done 5Ks in high school, but as a sprinter, like my mentality towards 5Ks wasn't great. So I would just jog
Mm.
and try my best. Yes. I think I did like I don't remember what time I did, but I remember doing the UE 5K in high school.
Mhm.
Uh,
Am I incorrect then in saying that last Sunday you run your first marathon that better the Jamaica record? Before the race, do you think you could have gone below the 3 minutes, the three hours rather?
Yes, I had full confidence going into the race that I would be able to run under 3 hours no matter what happened, because just based on my training alone, I could see that I had the potential to at least run 2:45. So I kind of set a bigger goal for myself of 2:40. Every time I said it out loud, I was very nervous, but based on my training, that's the time that I believe that I could have run. And of course, I went 5 minutes below that. So
Okay.
it's
So are
Okay.
you so are you fully committed now to long distance running?
yes, I'm fully committed to long distance running. I won't be switching to sprinting again.
Mm.
Won't be hunting for any other hobbies. Yeah.
How do you now then prepare? What's your daily routine then?
Okay, so in terms of when I was marathon training, so every day was kind of different, but a standard day, a standard Monday, I would run in the morning, do a really long run in the morning. So I was doing about 10 to 13. Then I would double in the evenings and do
Well,
6.
not 10 to what? 13 what? Miles?
13 miles, yes.
Trevor, when last you walked 13 miles, Trevor?
John, my table is not that far from the kitchen.
So you get up in the morning around 10 to 13 miles.
Yes.
And then what? And then what?
And then go to work, go to class. Then I double in the evenings. I would do 6 miles and then yeah, go about with the rest of my day with whatever time was left, whatever I needed to do.
So is it just consists now of running each day, or is there additional gym workout that you do?
Okay, so my standard structure would be Monday, only easy runs. Tuesday, I would do a workout. So it's like intervals in the run, and then I would also lift after. Wednesday, I would do a medium long run. Thursday, I would do a easy run and lift, and then a group workout in the evenings. Friday, I would do a easy run and lift. Saturday or Sunday would be my long run day, and whatever day I did not do the long run, I would either do an easy run or I would rest.
Okay.
Uh,
Yes.
And your easy run is 10 to 13 miles.
Yes. My easy run is
And when you say lift, you're talking about weightlifting?
yes, weightlifting.
Okay. Hmm. Now, in terms of a marathon or long distance running, do you like map the course to say at what points, what times you want to be at what points during the race?
So I just thought an average pace that I wanted to hit throughout the race in my head. So I knew I wanted to average about 607 pace, which I went under, but my goal was to average 607 pace. So I was like, as long as I'm hitting 607 pace on my watch, then I'll be fine. And I also knew there would be a few hills in the middle, although they were steeper than I thought they would be. There were some hills in the middle, and I was like, even if I slow down on the hills, then it has to come back down. So I would just the average mile would be the same.
Mhm.
So on my watch, I'm able to track the average pace for the mile. So that's basically how I went about navigating the race.
Have you set targets for yourself in terms of times you want to hit over the next couple of years?
Okay, so I actually never really thought beyond this race because for the last 5 months I've just been focusing on this one race and the time I wanted to run for this one race. However, I do have some goals in the 5K. I know I would like to be closer to 16:45 in the 5K. I haven't set a 10K time yet, but I know I'll be doing a 10K next year, so I would have to set a time for that. And then I also have some goals in like the half marathon where I would want to run closer to 114 in the future. So I know that my goal is just to continue to improving gradually. So as long as I'm improving, then I'll be happy with that.
Are you gauging your time off the world records?
So I'm kind of gauging my times of where I am
Mhm.
and what my training says I can do right now.
Yeah.
So it's really just like a gradual process. Of course, this race was like a big jump for me because I didn't expect to do that good. So I kind of have to take some time and rethink my goals for the future.
Okay.
Long distance running is a new experience for you now. What do you need to do over the next, say, 2, 3 years to challenge the best marathoners across the globe?
Okay, so not only will I have to like improve my training, I'm also going to have to race in a bit more competitive fields. So I would have to look some races outside of Florida, especially for like the 5K and 10K. I've only been racing in Florida, so I would have to look beyond that. And then also I need to look into some recovery ways I could possibly recover. And then also my nutrition. So there's going to be a lot of factors that I'm going to have to think about to be able to compete with the best in the world.
talk about nutrition and diet then, Mishka. What's that? What's your nutrition like and your diet?
Okay, so for this marathon training, it was definitely a different experience because my intake was way more than I'm used to. So even like what I thought was healthy before, it's kind of like a new healthy because I have to eat enough. So even though you would think you should not eat so much bread as a runner, in this area, it was required for me to eat a lot of carbs. So that was definitely a new experience. Even the day before a marathon, I was eating things I would never eat before a race. So it was definitely a new experience, and I still have some things to learn because even with during the race, I had some stomach problems with the fluid and the gel
Mhm.
intake. Yes, so I need to practice that a bit more so that my stomach can be trained to handle all the nutrition it needs.
Mm.
How about the yellow yam?
Yes, of
Yeah,
course, I have my ground provisions as well.
yeah. I said because I was going to ask you if you have to put away the oxtail and the liver and banana.
No, I still eat Jamaican food. I still eat Jamaican food.
So you are also currently pursuing a master's degree in biomedical engineering at the University of Central Florida. In order to be uh, in order to be successful as a marathoner, will y- racing require a lot of attention, or how are you going to balance academics now and the racing or training?
Well, I'll say this past semester was definitely a new experience for me, even though I experienced training and in undergrad. But it was definitely a different experience for me because I had more on my plate. So I had to like follow a strict schedule every day in order to get everything done. So everything would be like back to back. I would have like a few minutes to get ready, make sure I had all my meals prepared so that I could get everything that I want to get done. So um going into next semester as well, I definitely want to try to improve my sleep as well. So that will make things a bit more tight in terms of productivity. So I'm going to have to ensure that I'm on top of my work with everything if I want to get a bit more rest. So that's one of the things I'll be working on trying to improve.
With us on John Sports Corner is Mishka-Mae Hyde, a new Jamaica record holder in the marathon. And the time was what, Mishka? 2 hours, 45 minutes, and
2 hours,
minutes
35 minutes.
35.
Yes,
Okay.
35 minutes.
And your goal was 2 hours and 48.
My goal was okay, so I actually had different goals. At the start, my goal was 2 hours and 50 minutes, and then I gradually reduced it to 2 hours and 40 minutes. So my final goal at the starting line was 2 hours and 40 minutes.
And the length of the marathon was?
26.2
26.
miles or 42K.
So we might have you running the Boston Marathon next and the New York Marathon in the near future.
So for the Boston Marathon, I won't be able to get in until 2027, but yeah, that one is definitely on my radar to do. Yes, so I
Yeah,
definitely want to do the Boston Marathon for
And
yeah,
sure.
then,
because the three big marathons, I guess, in the US are Boston,
Yes.
Chicago, and New York.
yes,
Yep.
okay. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to that too.
Um, have you decided when or where you'll attempt the next marathon yet?
So I know my next marathon won't be until next fall. So I'm going to start looking at races that I could possibly do during that time period. But I have
Mm.
a year or so before my
So
next one.
one of the things, a marathon, you hear about a marathon world record, but the the courses in a marathon are all different.
Hmm.
Yes.
Um, if you are going to be running, say in New York, and you're going to encounter some undulating surfaces and whatever, How do you prepare then for the different surfaces that you might be running on?
Okay, so in terms of elevation, I'd say the
Mm-hmm.
best thing that I can do in my situation since I'm living in Florida is to make the best of the hills that we do have. And then also do some work on the treadmill with incline, the stairmaster and lifting would also help with that as well. And then in terms of studying the course, I would have to like what some professionals say about the courses because since I've never experienced it or know how to navigate those courses, but there's always a way to run the courses best so that you could possibly PR even if the course is harder. So going into every marathon, you kind of have to study the course before.
Mhm.
Mm. So you are in Florida now. Do you take advantage maybe of running in the sand along the beach?
Well, I'm actually not close to the coast, but sometimes you
Oh.
go to a loop called the clay loop. So it's a clay surface and it's sandy, so it's kind of uneven. So that's
Mm-hmm.
very, yeah, that helps. And then it's also very humid, and I feel like the humidity, it's way harder to run in. So when I go somewhere that's cooler, it makes the races much easier as well.
That's good. Good observation.
I know some of the marathon runners, when a race, big race is coming up, they probably move their training to um, an environment that is maybe a little more hilly. Would you see yourself doing something like that?
Okay, so circumstances allowing, like after I graduate, depending on the type of job I have, I would like to like go to other places to do training blocks like altitude or somewhere more hilly. So
Hmm.
that would be something for the future and something that could definitely help me to improve as well. I think now I have a lot of room to grow, so factors like that may not be as important for me right now, but definitely in the future when I'm trying to drop more time, then stuff like that would definitely help me.
What about the reggae marathon? Is that in the cards
Okay, so unfortunately, I definitely cannot do it this year
this
because
year? Right.
right now I have exams and it's the end of the semester. So that's definitely out of the cards for me this year, but hopefully next year I will be able to attend that as well.
And winning a reggae marathon could probably put a feather in your cap.
Yes.
Your friends in high school who you used to run with, when they hear you running now long distance marathon, how do they react?
Well, I guess everybody's like, that's so crazy because a marathon, yeah. So, because we're all sprint, especially in Jamaica, almost everyone is a sprinter. Or
Mhm.
at my school, it probably went up to 800, but that was it. So, of course, everyone is surprised that I'm doing a marathon
Mhm.
because, yeah. And even for like Jamaicans, that's not something that's big as yet. So,
Yeah.
doing a marathon would be impressive to anyone.
As you say, it's not big in Jamaica marathon, but and neither is it big in our national championships. However, do you plan to maybe run a 5K or a 10K in the next national championships?
Yes, so once there's like a 5K or 10K, I would definitely participate. Yes. I'm not sure how many women there would be, but they could combine
Yeah.
the male and the female fields for something like a 5K. I would be
Mhm.
interested in doing that.
Hmm. Mishka-Mae. It's very interesting talking to you now about marathon running because, as you say, uh, most of Jamaica is probably known as a sprint factory. However, over the last maybe couple of years, you can see a transition now going into the 400 and 800. I mean, you have Navaski Anderson now running 800s, and I guess shortly we'll be going 1500 too. Um, so maybe you can inspire young people now to take up marathon running in Jamaica.
Yes, I feel like I'm definitely not the only one with potential to run a really fast marathon in Jamaica. So I think that it should inspire others. So if you're not doing as well as you want to in the sprinting events, you could possibly start focusing on some longer distances, or even after high school, you could start transitioning into longer races, because a marathon at the high school level is would be difficult. So I think after high school or even after university, you could consider pursuing a marathon. Consider pursuing marathon running if you would like to.
Hmm. Now, and you talk about graduating now with a master's and getting a job, but if you're kind of successful at marathon running, would you kind of put the job hunt to the side a little to focus on the marathon running?
I would say I kind of want both, because I feel like I work very hard at these two engineering degrees. So I'd really want to pursue both as a career
Mm,
option. I don't think I
yeah.
could give up engineering, and I definitely cannot give up marathon running. So it's
On that note, Mishka-Mae, certainly thank you so much for. And well, Trevor, anything you want to uh, ask Mishka before we say goodbye
Well,
and good luck?
I would like to say I'm very impressed. And I think that this is a new ripple that you're putting, into a pond. As we say, when you throw a stone in the pond and the ripple starts, you don't know where the ripple stops. It goes to oblivion. So you are a new pebble that has been dropped into this pond. First marathoner we have on this program. Therefore, it is another example for our youngsters and for children to follow. You're putting footprints in the sands right now that they can follow, knowing that this is something that has been done, that we can do, and not only that, that we can be successful at doing it. Okay? So I'd like to thank you for this example and for being a pioneer in this effort. And I am going to follow your career very closely. And just remember that you are not a stranger anymore. You're welcome to this platform at any time. Okay. And we might have to think of some things for you to do to complement what you're doing on our platform. Okay. Thank you so much for your resilience and your success and your determination. I mean, you're an inspiration right now, and you're going to continue to be a great inspiration to other young people around you. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you for the opportunity to speak with you as well. And I'm happy to spread inspiration to everyone, especially Jamaicans. So I'm really excited for what's to come for marathon running in Jamaica.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mishka, and good luck along the way.